Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Hadi, and he's in the Atlanta, at Tier 7 US Premium Cruiser. He's on the map Haven, and it's a stunner. But on the bright side, it's a Tier 7 battle, so it's top tier. Not too many Tier 7s around, carrier is Tier 6. And well, he's found himself an island to shoot stuff while being undetected, which is nice. Now the shores here is getting a bit close. The Atlanta only has 13.3 kilometers of range, and that's actually with the captain's kill, so it's the maximum range you can get. Which can be a bit of a problem, but you know, in some circumstances there are some positive side effects, like, I mean, now there's the island in between, but like this shores couldn't spot him even if he shoots at 13.9, because you know, his concealment only goes up to 13.3 when he shoots. Now, thankfully, he has a large force here with him, which means he should be rather safe from being rushed or overrun by the enemies. And so far, those islands are providing a decent amount of cover for him to just pew at the enemies. Then again, there is a rather large force here. Well, when we look at the north, actually quite a few friendly ships in the north and not many enemies, which stands to reason that the enemy has the advantage here in the south. Now with those big blobs, it's a bit problematic to count all of the enemy ships that are on there, but you know. Now Hadi has decided to move forward one island, and well, if he shoots now he is going to be detected, but the island in front of him is probably protecting him from the blob. So only the shore. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's enough protection. That island is rather shallow there. But he is undetected. And well, there seems to be a Königsberg considering charge. So he is using his radar. Oh, by the way, there is no destroyer in this game, something I forgot to mention earlier, which is yeah, let's just say it makes the radar less useful. But then again, in a standard battle, it's already less useful because you aren't fighting for objectives. So, Königsberg coming around, armor piercing is loaded. He could torpedo here, but he's decided, you know what, he doesn't need those torpedoes. Now, if that Königsberg actually would have shot armor piercing instead of just trying to torpedo, then this could have gone rather bad for the Atlanta here. But I guess the enemy was so fixated on his torpedoes that he forgot to use his guns and just sailed full broadside in front of an Atlanta. So that's nice. Also, Hadi here is using defensive fire. The Atlanta is a bit special because it doesn't have a maximum number of charges on its defensive fire. The Atlanta was once upon a time a strong anti-air ship and was known for shredding planes. Now, of course, these days your anti-air is crap, defensive fire is pointless, and I would recommend, personally I would recommend to run Hydro instead, because unfortunately defensive fire isn't going to change an awful lot. But Hydro can make quite a bit of a difference in certain games. But that's just a side note. And obviously it's up to personal choice. I mean, defensive fire does kind of make one feel better, doesn't it? Because you feel like you can actually do something against planes, but in the end they will still drop you, cause you know, that's just how this game works. Anyway. So he is just continuing his pew here, got a nice fire on the Ismail. And the friendly ships here aren't so numerous anymore. The Gneisenau is already running away, the Leander is for some reason charging in. I don't think that's gonna work. And well, then we have the Bayern here. But you know, the enemy team might just conceivably start pushing Hadi here at some point. Because, well, the Leander is dead, which was expected. The Igniter now is pretty much gone by now. And that only leaves the Bayern. And the Bayern isn't the biggest deterrent for a massive enemy fleet to charge you. And again, I mean, he has torpedoes. And those torpedoes only have 4.5 kilometers range, but maybe he can ambush someone. Now, meanwhile, the Ranger is continuing on its course towards the largest concentration of enemy ships. I'm not sure why, because, you know, if it just go north, he would be perfectly safe. He could have gone to the other flank, but the Ranger decides to go in the only direction on this entire map where he's probably gonna die. So, enemy Bayern is a bit reluctant. Oh, is he going to push? Now he's proximity detecting Hadi. Now, of course, you would think, like, if he knows exactly that there's an Atlanta 1.5 kilometers, that Bayern is going to be careful about torpedoes, but no. His guns are not even pointing this way, I think. So, that's nice. Oh, there's a shores. Can we see a double strike? Yeah, okay, Atlanta's shell travel time is a little long, and the friendly Bayern took care of that anyway. But there is now a certain problem. And that certain problem is the enemy team is now finally pushing, and well, Ahadi is pretty much alone here. Now, the Atlanta is not a great boat for open water gunboating, because it's a very squishy ship. So, a lot of people will overmatch parts of your ship, and so your angling will not be so meaningful. Don't have a lot of hit points. And yeah, he's already eaten quite a bit of damage here with the first salvo. Now only one ship is aiming out at Gershby. He's got now 2 ships aiming at him. So Piotr and the Ismail, not necessarily what you wanna have shooting you in your Atlanta, and both of those ships are perfectly capable of devastating him with 1 salvo. If they get some decent RNG in, that is. And of course, if they shoot armor piercing, because, you know, the Piotr that looked suspiciously like high explosive. I mean, the Ismail was shooting armor piercing, pretty sure, but... So, well, that worked out, with a bit help from the friendly team. Now, currently, both teams are equal on ships. The friendlies still have a carrier. The enemy carrier, well, I mean, I guess the enemy carrier was charging the only... Like, both carriers have decided to be on the only flanks where there is a big chance of them sinking. Now, the enemy carrier managed to sink. The friendly carrier might even be getting away with it. So, Devonshire. Now, Hadi is using some armor piercing here, but Devonshire is already angled. The Atlantis guns are not that great at longer ranges because you have with your armor piercing, because, well, I mean, you have rather small caliber guns, so your penetration is somewhat lacking. But also with the shell arcs at longer ranges, the shells are just going to drop down on the deck. But I mean, if you're pretty close and the enemy is going full broadside on you, like 5 kilometers, then by all means you're going to go armor piercing, and there are some nice penetrations in there. Well, or over penetrations, I guess. But that's...
Enemy cruiser sunk.
It's 1 cruiser dealt with. Now the Furutaka is charging as well. Now, the Furutaka charging like that, I would expect her to try to torpedo. Unfortunately, of course, Hadi does not have hydro. But, oh, maybe the Furutaka is not going a full broadside torpedo. It's interesting. Also, of course, Hadi is way too broadside. If the Furutaka was to shoot armor piercing, he'd probably be dead, but... Yeah, that Furutaka was a bit... Well, I don't know. It felt like he couldn't make up his mind if he wants to try to go broadside and torpedo, or if he just wants to be nose in and shoot. And he also forgot to switch to armor piercing. Now the friendlies are 2 ships ahead by now, which is lovely. And well, Hadi is 1 kill away from his Kraken. Now he has finally found a nice position behind an island again, so much better for an Atlanta if you can just, you know, hack your island very dearly and rain fire upon the enemies. And speaking of fire, there is one. Yeah, oh, he is plane detected. Well, that's inconvenient. But can Ignition now even retaliate over those? Well, I mean, not like he has the time. So I guess we aren't going to find out. And the Kraken's unleashed. So that leaves the enemy team with 2 remaining ships, and Ismail that's barely floating, and obviously a full health George, because, you know, that's George was probably not very useful for his team. Now, the Ismail is going for a last charge here. Hadi is, well, I think he's just chatting here. He could shoot at Ismail. I mean, there's obviously a certain risk in the open water gunboating like this, but at this point it really doesn't matter. He can go nuts if he wants to and just farm some more damage. Ismail has been taken care of. I mean, he isn't even going to get spotted by this George right now because of the island. And the George has finally figured out where the enemy is. It only took him like 15 minutes. And he's getting some nice salvos there in the... I mean, the George basically hasn't been shot at this entire battle, so the George had still a lot of superstructure here left, and that means lots of nice hits for our Atlanta here. Also some fires, and Hadi is even playing it safe here, seeking some cover, so that the George can't even shoot back.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
Well, George has damage on those fires, he's trying to heal, yeah, it's not going to help him now, is it? And well, Hadi decided, you know, at this point, it doesn't matter if he's detected. I mean, the George's guns are also not pointing this way, so... And there is a double fire. And that brings us to the results. Hadi earned himself 2,924 base experience. Very nicely done. Also, he achieved 2 devastating strikes, the Confederate, the Kraken, a First Blood, and a High Caliber, scoring 207,000 points of damage and sinking 6 enemies. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys next time.